Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning. My name is Tim Duarte, and I'm coming to you live from Westport, Massachusetts. My background is with the Atari 2600. I started a print newsletter called the 2600 Connection back in 1990. And that seems like it was so long ago. And, a few years back, I decided that I wanted to be a game publisher. And I started with the Atari 2600. First game that I published, I didn't program it. It was called Mean Santa. But that's a different subject. I do have a video that I pre-recorded, but I would like to, first of all, and I'm going to play that in a minute. But first of all, I would like to thank John and James for putting this together. I'm just looking at the comments here. Might be something with my lighting here, but that it's a little dark. I do have the lights on. But in my video, I do want to note that I did make two errors. And the first is I talk about making Intellivision homebrew games. And the first is with making the boards. There are two people that make the boards. The first is Joe Zabiziak, and the second is Harvey Decline. Harvey, I failed to mention him in the video, and he does make a PCB for making the games. Again, my video breaks it down for making a Intellivision game. The one that I just worked with Oscar is called Zombie Madness, and that is available for sale right now on my website, and the video explains a little bit more about that. And also there was one other small error when I had talked about making the manuals. If you're pretty good with Microsoft Word or a word processor, you can make and print your own manuals. Okay, so I'm really excited about this virtual expo. I hope that we are a trendsetter, and the Intellivision community hopefully will see this also for the Atari. We'll also see it for the ColecoVision and maybe even the Odyssey 2. Those are the other communities that I really like to follow. So without further ado, I would like to ask John and James if you will roll the video, and I will be monitoring the chat on the side. And I will, if you have any questions about the process of making and publishing your own Intellivision video game on cartridge, feel free to ask some questions. So thanks again, and John and James, roll it. Well, hello there. My name is Tim Duarte from the 2600 Connection, and today I'm going to speak to you about how you can become an Intellivision homebrew video game publisher. So this all started for me back in 2009 when I had come up with the idea to publish an Atari 2600 video game. I had designed and conceived an idea for a game and laid it out all on paper, but the problem was I wasn't a programmer. I didn't know how to program a game. So I turned to a friend, John K. Harvey, who agreed to program the game. And then later on, at the end of 2009, we made 100 of these cartridges, put it in a plastic box, created a manual, printed them out, and we sold these. And it was a success. But that's a story for another day. That was my intro to publishing games. So I met a programmer, Chris Reed, on Atari Age. He goes by the nickname Atari 2600 Land on Atari Age. And we had been corresponding back and forth. And I was trying to learn how to program. And he was very helpful. And I had lots of questions. But he had told me that he had bought an Odyssey 2. And an Odyssey 2 is a system that I had when I was a teenager, and I got back into that system as well. He programmed a game called GoSub, and I agreed to take on the task of publishing that game, used the experience and the knowledge that I had with Mean Santa, and yeah, we published this game as well. Same type of thing with a plastic case. Again, story for another day. But how does this involve the Intellivision is Chris created a version of GoSub for the Intellivision. And I thought, wow, it would only be fitting if we published that game as well. So I had the problem now is try to figure out, I had the game, we worked out an agreement with Chris, but I had no idea how to make an Intellivision homebrew video game. So I went on Atari Age Intellivision forums and just started researching and looked at who was making the games, and I met John Hirschberger, who also goes by the name of Rev on Atari Age, and he was super helpful. He gave any questions that I had, he was pointing me in the right direction. So there's some components that you need to put together for the final product. And I'm going to walk you through those different components. The first part is the game. Now, fortunately, as I said, Chris Reed had programmed the game, and because there were so many different pieces, the Intellivision community, they wanted a box. They wanted a full color manual, overlays, and a full color label on the cartridge as well. So the first task was the game. So I reached out to Rev, and we hired Joe Zabiziak, who goes by the name of NTV Nut. And Joe created a PCB, or printed circuit board, which can store the game. And he also created a cartridge shell. So we hired Joe to create 300 of these circuit boards with the game programmed on it, and also with the brand new cartridge shell. So that was the first piece, and it's actually quite easy to put these together. The game sits right inside the cartridge. It's two pieces, and then there are 4 screws on the back, and Joe provides the 4 screws. So we just put these in with a regular Phillips head screwdriver. I'm not going to screw them in now for because I don't have enough time. But basically it's just a little bit of a manual labor process putting these together. But Joe takes care of all that for you. The next piece is the box. So Rev introduced me to a box designer who, this is what it actually looks like. So we had 300 of these boxes printed, and using this is how they arrive, and then using just a standard glue gun with these glue sticks, the glue gets melted, and then there's a specific way in which you fold this box and use the glue, and it sticks. Now the first few that I did, I messed them up. It took me a while to get the hang of it, but I've done quite a few now, so I've gotten pretty good at it. Now there is another box maker, Steve Jones, who I've used for a number of the other games that we've created: Up Monsters, Pumpkin Master, Space Raid, and Zombie Madness. And you don't have to do any of the glue with messing around with the glue gun. Steve Jones boxes, when he gets them printed, I believe he prints them through Mark Oberhauser. Forgive me if I'm not pronouncing his name correctly. Mark is in Germany, and Steve does the design and the artistic Photoshop work, and has them printed. And those boxes come already glued. They come flat. You basically just have to sort of fold them out and put the flaps in. But they ship flat, but they're already glued. So once we have the cartridge, the next thing is, and we got the box, the next thing is a label. So you can have the label printed on a color laser printer, and you could take a pair of sharp scissors or a paper cutter and cut them and trim them to size, and then adhere them onto the cartridge. But I found having them professionally printed is worth it. So with GoSub, what we did was we had over 300 labels made, and they're a nice vinyl label. So it's more of like if you've ever felt like a bumper sticker on a car, it has that vinyl feeling to it. It's not like a piece of paper. So I think this is the way to go. And there's a number of places that you can basically design your artwork. And again, there's a few people, if you don't have the skills to design the label, there's a few people like Steve Jones and Eric the Hat Man on Atari Age that they'll design the box, they'll design the label for you using the artwork. With the next step is the overlays. So with GoSub, we actually created 2 sets of overlays, and the person that creates these, his name is Phil Boland, and he goes by the name of P. Boland on Atari Age, and he has a process that rivals, you know, the overlays that Mattel was producing, you know, back in the late 1970s and 1980s. These overlays are fantastic. So he will create these for you, and the prices are reasonable. As for a manual, again, writing the manual and designing the manual and trying to make it look like an Intellivision manual from the late 1970s and 1980s is a difficult task. If you are good with desktop publishing software, such as like PageMaker, Quark Express, the ones that I created, I ended up using a version of Photoshop and just sort of fudged my way through. I'm not very good at Photoshop, but I could place and do basic image and text and screenshot work. However, there's a guy by the name of Mark Thompson that we hired, and he's on Atari Age, goes by the name of Mark Thompson, and he creates the manuals, and they look like a manual that you would buy from back in the late 1970s, early 1980s. It looks like an Intellivision manual. Now, he also does the design and the printing. So all of that can be done for you. So what does the finished product look like when you have all these pieces and you put it together? I'll do a little quick unboxing. This is what the box looks like once we glue it, and it has a little retention area that holds the cartridge in place. And what we do is we put a little serial number on there on the box that I print out with a label maker. This is number 179 out of 300. And then inside the box is the manual with the 2 overlays. And we put in a little flyer in there as well that basically just says, you know, that our website. Again, the finished product, once you put all this together, now you've got to do some marketing, and there's a few ways that we've done that. The easiest place is to put a message up on the Atari Age Intellivision forum and basically make an announcement that the game is available. And I also have a website where I have all the details about the game with a PayPal link. And the other option is I've put some on eBay, and also looking to, I have GoSub listed on Etsy. Now, I'm going to try to expand on that, and also the game that I published for working with Oscar Toledo Gutierrez out of Mexico. Zombie Madness, going to try to put that one on Etsy as well. So, just want to show you the games that I've created and published over the years. So the first was Go Sub, the second one was Up Monsters. This box, as I stated, was created by Steve Jones, and we tried a different process where I sold the game and the manual, but Steve sold the box and the overlay. So that's an option too, which I guess I was the first to do that, because usually all of the Intellivision games were sold complete in box. And if you do it this way, not everybody may not want the box and the overlays. They may just want to have the game and the manual. And you know, for $28 in shipping is what we're selling Zombie Madness for. I think that's a very good price. After Up Monsters, we did Pumpkin Master. Again, another box by Steve, and we did the same thing. Up Monsters was programmed by Chris Reed. Pumpkin Master was programmed by Oscar Toledo Gutierrez, who we also know on Atari Age as Nano Chess. And the next one that I did was Blix and Chocolate Mine. I worked as a subcontractor for Michael Thomason of Good Deal Games for this one. So I didn't publish this one, but I worked with Michael, and he basically utilized my skills and expertise for the cartridge manufacturing. So he subcontracted me. I went with, again, the vinyl labels for the cartridge, the brand new cartridges and boards, all programmed by Joe Z. And Michael did the manual. So basically my part was the cartridge manufacturing. We also did, during COVID, I worked with Oscar, and we did a small run of Space Raid. And this one, the cartridges were, again, made by Joe Z, but the labels, very basic. I printed them on a laser printer. And then the most current one, which just came out around Halloween, is Zombie Madness box, again created by Steve, sold by Steve. But we are going to do something a little different. I did order some boxes, and I'm going to try to sell the game with the box on Etsy. But as I stated, for $28, you can get just the game and the manual. And I want to show you a close-up of what the cartridge looks like. So just the game and the manual for $28, and then shipping is $4 if you live in the United States. If you live in Canada or Mexico, $12 for shipping. If you live anywhere else in the world, $15. So the other thing that you have to be aware of is, to be an Intellivision video game programmer, you've got to ship these games. So I'm gonna spend some time at the post office, but I found one way of doing that is to prevent that, spending a lot of time at the post office, is to print the postage yourself ahead of time. And you can do that right through, if you accept PayPal, there's an option that allows you to, if you know the weight, and I know that in a package, I put some bubble wrap around the cartridge. I put the manual wrapped in some cellophane taped to a piece of cardboard, and then I wrap that package up. It weighs about 4 ounces, so I know when I ship a game how much it's going to weigh. And so if I make a run to the post office, I can have, you know, a dozen or so games, and I don't have to wait in line. I can just basically leave them at the counter. They're all, I don't have to worry about filling out the addresses or writing down the addresses wrong, because when you print out the postage, it already has it. So that's a huge time saver. I would definitely recommend. The days of sitting at a desk and writing out, you know, by hand the addresses, I think those days are over. So I hope this video was helpful to you. If this is something that you want to do, I'll certainly be happy to answer any questions that you may have, and point you in the right direction. Because like I said, Rev was really helpful to me, and pointed me in the right direction. And I only think there's going to be more. I'm only going to be doing more games in the future. I've got 2 planned for 2021, if all goes well. But I can't give any other details about that at this time. So again, drop me a line. You can reach me on Atari Age. I go by the name of Timdu, Timdu, or you can go to my website, www.2600Connection.com. That's 2600 CONNECTION. And you know, my favorite system is probably the Atari 2600. Second would be the Odyssey 2. Third, I hate to admit this, but you know, the Intellivision is probably third. I don't know why. I just have a, I guess it's kind of nostalgic. It's kind of an emotional tie that I have to the Atari 2600 and the Odyssey as well, and the Intellivision. And then the system that I'm getting into now is the ColecoVision, and have a nice special controller that I had made for that system. And I have a game that's coming out for the ColecoVision on Black Friday of this year. So that's November 27th. Come to the 2600 Connection website, or look on the ColecoVision forum. On Thanksgiving night, Black Friday, there'll be an announcement, and that'll be my first ColecoVision game, which I'm really excited about. But I will continue to publish some more Intellivision games. You know, to me, I have a lot of fun with it. I like doing it so it doesn't seem like work to me. And I think the minute that it becomes like work, I'll probably stop, or I'll probably pass the baton to someone else, and certainly be willing to help anybody out there that is thinking about publishing a game, that wants to do it. Again, you won't get rich from it. You cover your expenses, maybe make a little bit of money, but any of the money that I make, I try to put back in to the hobby, to my hobbies, one way or the other. Okay, so I hope you found this helpful, and if you have any questions, please feel free to get in touch. Take care.